I think most of the musicians I met since I started being a musician kind of wanted to be vocalists.
Okay.
In a way or another, the world was like, can we sing this? Can I make choir for that? So I feel like, but I understand. I think it's just the best.
Me too. It's a natural instrument, so we should definitely make the best out of it.
Sí.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a una nueva entrevista aquí en Colegio MAP. Esta vez tenemos una invitada internacional desde Italia. Tenemos a Camilla Battaglia, vocalista que se centra, tiene un enfoque muy interesante porque se centra mucho en la improvisación y en la experimentación musical en general, pero tiene un trasfondo que vamos a explorar un poco más a detalle y que vale la pena escuchar. Así que bienvenida, Camilla. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
We're going to start with a few questions about you and then dig into your special approach to music, okay? The first question is, why philosophy first and music later? How did this influence the inclusion of improvisation as a central element of your creation?
I think I haven't thought about being a musician for until I was 19 because both of my parents are musicians. And I really felt like, no, I'm not gonna be living this crazy life. Like, no. So in my high school time, I really thought that I was gonna be, I was thinking about doing either like antique, like old languages like Greek and Latin, or philosophy, or even theology. I was really into it, but then I discovered that it was really more in the direction of then working in the church. But yeah, that was really my passion, and it's been for a long time. But then, when I started attending the university, I was getting closer to some of my mom's students at the school she was teaching in Milan. And I was going a lot to jam sessions, and I started just doing it for fun, because for me, it's been always like a very present musical language in my life. So I've always listened to this kind of songs. So for me, it was just kind of playing around with this. So, and then I started feeling that I really liked it, and then they asked me to record this album, and I wasn't really sure. It was like a standard album, and I did it when I was 19, and I just remember that I didn't feel completely comfortable until we were there. We were recording. And when I got out of the studio, and it was a really impromptu recording. We went there in the morning, we recorded 10, 11 tunes. And then at 6 p.m. we were done, no post-production, no anything. And I remember just coming back home feeling like, this must be the thing that I want to do for the rest of my life.
Okay.
So, that's why I think then I finished it was another year and a half before I actually enrolled into Siena Jazz University, and I started my bachelor in jazz.
Vocal jazz,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
And how did philosophy impacted that musical language or creation in general?
It's still a great passion of mine. So I still really love just getting to know contemporary philosophers, and it's been a great source of inspiration in terms of I really like the idea that music can be a thread of connection to something else, that it's really I wouldn't say that it's a universal language, but it can really be a link, a connection to different perspectives and different worlds in in terms of like looking at the reality from a different perspective. And I just always felt like writing music that could say and like depict, paint different scenarios so that people could find themselves in those different scenarios towards music and through music. So philosophy, it's been that like I was really inspired by words or just images about reality, and I tried to put that into the music I was writing. So I think, and it's the same with poems, with poetry. I think it's always been like a great source of material to compose.
Okay. That was actually one of my questions because I watched one of your visual creations in if I hope I'm remembering the name well. It's Calor.
See?
And it's a visual abstract concept within the music, or maybe backwards.
See? No.
Well, it's all together. And actually, one of my questions was, what do you aim to provoke in the audience with performances that, in addition to improvisation, include audiovisual elements such as calor? So you're just responding that you want to awaken different emotions and perspectives.
It's like, it's not, yeah, I think this is what I try do with music, what I am expecting when I am in the audience. So when I'm like, I feel a little dull in just attending to music as like pure aesthetics. Of course, sometimes it can be really fun, but that's also different. It's not pure aesthetic. If you go and listen to a band that makes you want to dance or makes you want to party, still there's like, it doesn't have to be like, how do you say, like a very high perspective meaning, but I still feel that I love to go listen to shows where music is giving the audience something, it's moving something inside. Okay. So when I write music and when I perform, I sort of want to do the same. Unfortunately, my field, it's not the fun. I cannot do it. I'm not a really funny person. but I really think it's important for music to be connected to something that it's gonna awake something into the audience. So yeah, I try really hard to do that.
Okay. And you use, of course, improvisation a lot. Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask before diving into improvisation, what percentage of your performances is structured or rehearsed, and what percentage is improvisation? More or less.
For most of my project, actually, it's mostly written and rehearsed, and there's always a structure. And I would say so, like 75% is written, and then the rest is like more improvised, where I have a little bit of space, and I have a little bit of I can like stretch the form, so that I know that I have that kind of freedom. Especially that happens a lot, for example, in my solo performance, that I know that there's like a specific structure, but sometimes maybe, especially towards the end, I maybe switch a little bit the chapter, so I anticipate something, or I do another like scenario I put later, and also that I know that a specific chapter can be like stretched a little bit, so I can stay there and improvise more in that section. And when I'm playing in a band, I guess there are just like specific spots, like areas in the tune that are like, that can be broken in terms of like harmony or rhythm, and where anything can happen. Or sometimes it's just like a solo form with like more songish kind of approach.
Okay. Thank you.
Antes de continuar, asegúrate de suscribirte a nuestro canal. Frecuentemente subimos entrevistas, masterclass y todo contenido relacionado a audio y música. Así que ya sabes, suscríbete y nos seguimos viendo en los siguientes videos.
And well, now, you have, if I'm not remembering wrong, at least 2 albums that approach time as a concept, and you you managed to put it into music. I wanted to ask, what is your process for transforming abstract concepts like time into musical elements or pieces? How do you do it?
I I think I got like time is like a main topic in my life, and I think in most of people's life actually, but for me it's always been like either a struggle or either something you gotta run towards, whatever. So I really always I always talk a lot about it, and when I discovered like the conical field and the process of studying rhythm, I remember actually it was in Amsterdam, and I was doing my master, and I was taking this class that is called Takadimi, I think, or I think it was called Advanced Rhythm Takadimi, and I remember we was doing this something like that really struck me at first, because I never considered it, that it was like polypulsation. And I remember it was really, really hard, and we were doing it in couples, and we were doing this like with the metronome, the same for everybody, really slow. I remember it was like between 50 and 55 BPM, so it was really meditational also. And we were doing so these 2 different fives together. So I remember like the highest level of complexity, that it's something that I try to recreate in one tune in Emitrote Tortenet. It's these 2 fives, and one we're doing 5/7, and the other we're doing 5/6, which is already, they were complicated by themselves, but like to do it together, and you really have the feeling of you're doing the same cycle, the same groupings, but it's like a different speed, even though the beat is the same. And I got really, really, how do you say, like really inspired, because when you, like the studies about space and time, and it's what basically reality is. Like we perceive time in a specific way. We feel it like a line, but it's actually much more complicated than that. And it's like circular, and there's no like past, and there's no future. So, and I just felt that like this feeling of having these 2 things that are the same, like same root, but still feels they're going like in 2 different
kind of offset, no?
Yes.
Offsetting.
And it's the same like when you study, I don't know, like people going in different like part of the universe, and for them like time is passing in a different path. So I try to recreate that with those like rhythmical techniques and rhythmical traditions.
Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you. And well, watching some of your performances, I could. Sorry, sometimes translating in real time is hard.
I understand.
I observed, of course, the presence of improvisation in a lot of your YouTube videos. And since we are in a music school, and since improvisation, at least for me, has taken quite a long time to... it's taken me quite a long time to understand sometimes improvisational shows or concerts. I wanted to ask you this question. How would you recommend that students who want to fully immerse themselves in musical and vocal improvisation learn to listen and understand musical performances like yours, where traditional structures are not followed maybe as we are usually accustomed to hear. What elements should they pay attention to so they don't perceive it just as like something that's not in order or just a mess, because it's not? What should they pay attention to?
Wow. This is like my specific idea is that we kind of sometimes we mixed up um, the the aesthetics and the context. Like improvising, sometimes I feel like, especially in jazz, we got the free jazz tradition,
Yeah.
and then it developed also, of course, a lot. Like in Europe, there's a whole school of like fully improvised sets, so people that would just like dig in some specific aspects of music. While I think improvising, it's a wider field. It doesn't have to be linked to some specific aesthetics. To be improvising, you don't have to sound like free jazz, or because of course, like that kind of language was like also very political, and it was really, I think, it was really a lot about the time and the space where it was happening, and the same was in Europe. So of course they were really digging in the noise and the textures, and a lot of broken rhythms and a lot of energy and a lot of like kind of
Expression,
rage
yeah.
sounds, and which it doesn't have that. This kind of fields doesn't have to be your own language. So I think improvisation should be seen more as like really knowing and getting in touch with the basic parameters of music. So I think when we want to be musicians, is we really got to take care of like what rhythm is, what melody is, what texture is, like sound, and what rhythm is and melody. Maybe I said rhythm before, but like melody, harmony, rhythm, and texture. And I think these are like the main thing. And you could be improvising a song like the blues, or like any, also if I think about like singer-songwriters from Italy, like really amazing ones in the past, it's hard. You wouldn't be super able to transcribe a structured song, because of course it's linked to the lyrics, and it's linked to the meaning of what the singer is saying or the singer is singing. But it doesn't have to include a specific aesthetic. You could be improvising and just like make people dance. It doesn't have to be messy per se. But if you want to get into that like more noisy and experimental sounds or avant-garde sounds, then I think you gotta be aware that there's a lot of knowledge behind that. Otherwise it's just like doing it for doing it, and
Yeah.
it would be bad for any specific arts or any specific job. So I think like improvising can be anything, can be like just like constructing or depicting a melody, or having some chords within your head and like just improvising over those. It doesn't, I think we really need to make a distinction between the aesthetics and the context. And I think if people would start like thinking about improvisation in those terms, then it would just be more like wider, and a possibility for every genre in music. Doesn't have to be just within jazz or just within free.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. So perhaps zooming into or trying to find these familiar things, and then trying to understand how they interact with everything else happening.
Yeah.
Perhaps at first,
See.
at least until you're not able to acknowledge everything at once. Did I understand well?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think it just needs to. It's like really learning a language, and I've been experiencing it a lot these past few weeks, because I've been feeling really bad. Like, for example, not knowing the language, not knowing Spanish, and like just always feeling like I gotta or either be really slow or in Spanish, or like speaking in English, when I know actually like our languages can be pretty much connected in a way. But and I think it's the same. It's the same with music. It's like taking baby steps and doing it. Like if improvising is something that you feel it's important for you as a performer or as a composer, that just like at first you take baby steps and you just like give it a try within yourself. I think there's a lot of like autonomous work that every musician should do in terms of improvisation, so that you get to know your whatever instrument you play, is that you get to know it, and then when you are with others, you know how to interact, how to create space, and how to interact with what the other person is like saying.
Okay. Thank you very much. There's just one last question that's very personal. I'm just curious. Yeah. I would like to know why the voice and not other instrument as your main instrument?
Ooh, why the voice? I love other instruments, of course, and I love piano, and I do also really love electronics. I program in Super Collider, and I really like to do that, even though it's still a long process being a programmer. But I think actually voice, like vocals, it's the best instrument. I'm sorry, but I think so.
I agree.
I think there's so much depth in what vocals can do, and it's the only one that can actually also have a specific meaning, that can say something that people would immediately understand. And I think most of the musicians I met since I started being a musician kind of wanted to be vocalists.
Okay.
In a way or another. They were always like, can we sing this? Can I make choir for that? So I feel like, but I understand. I think it's just the best.
Me too. It's a natural instrument, so we should definitely make the best out of it. Thank you so much, Camilla.
Thank you.
It was a really interesting interview. Thank you for your sincerity and your attitude is really contagious.
Thank you.
We are looking forward for the masterclass. Van a estar viendo la masterclass en nuestro canal de YouTube, así que no se la pierdan. Ha sido todo un placer platicar con Camilla. Bienvenida a Colegio MAP. This is your house. This is your home whenever you want to get back here.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Esperen nuevo contenido en la siguiente semana.